And coming in at number, oh boy. Oh man, blowing off all the dust off of them. Hey guys, Chicky456 here, back with another video, and this one is definitely a long awaited video for some of you guys. I'm finally doing the ranking of my Littlest Pet Shop customs that were the Mr. Men and Little Miss series. I did what previous ones of the My Little Pony customs I've done and other Littlest Pet Shop customs, but this one now is based off of one main series, which is the Mr. Men and Little Misses from the Mr. Men show. I ended up remaking the list. I didn't like how the old one was. It was pretty tricky to pick which ones were, of course, you know, my least favorite to my top favorite. Towards the middle and the end part though, like it's my top favorite, it got hard to pick between characters. But overall I'm happy with how the new list came out, and we'll be getting right into that. Also, a side note is I did end up getting a new job, so I'm hoping now, because it's got like a set schedule compared to my old job, which was like a part-time thing. This one's a full-time, like, set schedule. I have to start pretty early, but I do get out earlier in the day compared to what like a 9 to 5 kind of job thing. Because I at least have like the rest of the day, and then I got weekends. So I'm hoping this new job, I'm still trying to get into it. I'm really hoping this new job will like start giving me a better schedule, and then when I come home I can work more on art, more on crafts and videos and that kind of stuff, because just this past was my old job. It would just be like on and off again, and it was a struggle. It was. And just being a cashier, no thank you. No thank you.
I can't be with someone if I don't respect what they do.
You're a cashier!
Anyways, let's get into the video. Okay, so starting off at number 30, I grouped these two together because they technically shouldn't count because they never did actually appear in the show, but they are customs I've made, so I'll include them. It is the Little Miss Tiny and Little Miss Fun customs. I made Little Miss Tiny just because I had this little crab and it was really adorable, and the bow is what inspired me to make it into Miss Tiny, and overall she is just super adorable. I really love how she came out. And then I did end up making Little Miss Fun because she did appear in the back of the DVD case. Sadly, she never did appear in the show, which is a shame. I think she would have been really cute and fun to have on the show. But yeah, so these are on the bottom of the list just because they technically shouldn't really count. Coming in at number 29 is my Little Miss Giggles custom. I do not like how this came out at all anymore. At the time, it was pretty cute. I like the little details I put into it. I just hate that the hair's like, it's pretty streaky and messy. There's like a big chip right here. I hate that the hair ended up covering these 3 freckles, or like the freckles I put over here, yet here you can see these. It's just not my favorite. I do not really like how it came out at all. And then following right next after that is the Mr. Rude custom. To me, it just doesn't really look like him. There's like these next few don't really, I feel like, look like the characters. Like they kind of look like each other. Because, you know, he's red and there's like a ton of other red characters. He's supposed to be a skunk, but I believe this was actually maybe a cat or a squirrel figure. I wish I might remake him. I just don't care for how he really looks. Yeah, especially too since his mouth is open, but I just painted over it. But yeah, definitely not one of my favorites. And coming in right after that too is another red character, Mr. Noisy. I feel like the dog does fit him, even though I don't really care for how, you know, like the dog can be loud and barking. You can only tell it's Mr. Noisy because I printed out a megaphone for him. But other than that, he could be mistaken for Mr. Rude or even Mr. Strong, just compared to the other customs. Yeah, or could even be mistaken for Clifford. He looks more like Clifford! Oh my gosh, okay. And following right behind that is another red character, the Mr. Strong. Because again, it's just a simple red color. He's just a red bear. I do like him though a lot in a way, just because it is cute how I put the little belt around him. It came out really cute. I like his little expression. Overall, he is actually really cute. But again too, it's just seeing him on the shelf compared to all the other ones. He's definitely lower on the list because again, it's just one single red character that could be mistaken for Mr. Rude or Mr. Noisy. Alright, and coming in next at number 25 is the Mr. Lazy custom. because I was pretty lazy with this because during the time I just didn't want to risk sculpting a hat and having it come out bad. And this penguin had a hat, and I'm like, oh, I'll just paint it like the lazy hat. And yeah, and then I even gave him blonde hair, even though it's been shown he's bald underneath. I do like how the little sandals came out, and I do kind of like his tired expression. But yeah, I feel like this was just pretty lazy and a cheap attempt. Like a cop-out, cheap out. Alright, following next to that is one that's kind of paired up. It is the Mr. Bounce custom. The old one and the new one. The old one is pretty cute. I really love how the little hat came out, and I like the turtle shell as well. It's really pretty, and he just is overall cute. But of course a turtle would not fit him at all. But again, this was at the time when I only had so many little pet shops, and this kind of had like a roundish head, so that's why it was that. But then I finally did get a little frog, and that does fit because Mr. Bounce is smaller compared to the others, and again, a frog just makes sense because he is Mr. Bounce. But again, too, this just looks pretty bland because it is just a yellow frog. And again, though, the hat's cute. Sorry if I keep dropping all these. And following that is another remake I ended up doing, the Mr. Tickle. This is the old one, which is actually really cute. I do really like this one now looking, but a monkey, or I think it's a gorilla, just doesn't really fit him. But he is really cute. I like the coloring on him. He does stick out more compared even to his new one. But of course, once I got an octopus, that just makes sense because his arms can stretch and he likes to tickle. So of course, the more arms, the merrier. I don't like that I didn't outline his eyes. And again, too, he's just all one kind of bland color, just the orange color. Plus, I'll be honest, I never really cared for Mr. Tickle that much in the show. I know he's like the big original one, but I like more of like Mr. Grumpy, Miss Scary, Mr. Stubborn, like the more, I guess you could say, down-to-earth, sadder characters instead of the happy-go-lucky ones. And following behind him is the Mr. Tall custom. He's cute. He's a giraffe, of course, which makes sense. I like how his hat came out. It's cute. I don't really care for the dark blue. I know he is a dark blue color on the show, but I feel like it's just kind of too dark. You can't really see the spots on him. On the camera, you actually can, but like holding him right here, right now, it's kind of hard to see the brown spots. And yeah, the dark blue color, I feel like it's just too dark. Like, you can't really see him that well. At least when he's sitting on the shelf. Like, you can't really see all the details and stuff into him, so. Yeah, I think he only ever got, like, what, two talking parts on the show? Or even just one, I think, so. Yeah, he's not one of my favorite characters either. The following right behind is going to be kind of, maybe some of you guys will be surprised by it. It's the Mr. Quiet custom. I mean, he is adorable. He's a cute little tiny mouse, which makes perfect sense for him being Mr. Quiet. But again, too, it's just, I feel like it doesn't really look like him that much. I know they're not supposed to look exactly like the character, but yeah. Just, it looks kinda, I don't even know too if I really like the black hair up here I put at the end. I mean, he's cute and all, but definitely not one of my favorites. Yeah, nothing too much to say about him. It's just he's a little tiny blue mouse, and that's pretty much it. Alright, and right after that is Little Miss Bossy. She came out really cute in my case, but kind of like the Mr. Tall figure, she suffers from just being a too dark blue, I feel like. On camera, especially with this light over here, this lamp shining bright, you can see her better, but if you were to hold her, she really is just a dark blue. I love the little flower collar I added, and her hat came out super adorable. But you can't even really see her eyelashes that well. But yeah, her being a dog, like this kind of dog, is actually really cute. She's like barking out orders, I should say. But yeah, she's cute and all, but again, kind of just suffers from, you know, being a design that's kind of just old now compared to the other ones. And following right next to that is the Little Miss Curious custom. Curiosity killed the cat. She came out super cute in my case. One thing I wish I would have done is I would have definitely used clay to sculpt her iconic question mark ponytail. I should have done that instead of just sticking with this. I might try that maybe, even though it's already a completed custom. It would be cute to kind of update this one. But yeah, I mainly use this cat just because it did have the little bow tie and the little hair sticking at the top, which is what she has. I also really like the expression on her. But yeah, that's the one thing I wish I did was if I would try to have actually made her ponytail. That's why she's kind of lower on this list as well. And coming in next is another cat, the Mr. Happy Cat. He's just basically a yellow cat, so that's why he's lower on the list, but I do love his smile. It really is like the Cheshire Cat, and it just would suit Mr. Happy, because this is what he would probably be like as a cat. But yeah, nothing much to say about him, because again, he's just a yellow cat, but I think he is really cute, and just seeing him on my shelf too is really cute. He does stand out. So yeah, but again, just one solid color. Coming in right next to that is the Mr. Nervous custom. He looks like Courage the Cowardly Dog. I think this dog did have a worrying look on it, so that's why I picked this to be Mr. Nervous. I don't really care for how the glasses came out because the glob is just the glob of a hot glue just in the middle of the forehead. That's what stinks. But yeah, I love the little expression on him. I gave him little like spots around to give him more like of a personality, I guess we could say, compared to him just being one solid color. But yeah, he came out really cute in my case. Right next after that is the Little Miss Chatterbox custom. She is super adorable. Again, a dog would fit good for her too, especially being one of these little like yappy dogs. I mainly use this too just because of the pigtails, just because of like how she has her little pigtails. The bow was okay, but doesn't really look like a bow. I love the color on her too. It matches perfectly what her color is. And overall, she's just really cute. I think it just looks like her if she were to be a dog. Alright, and coming in next is the Little Miss Helpful custom. I believe this was a lemur originally. I don't know if it was a cat. It's just cute, but I feel bad that she doesn't have her little pigtails. I would have definitely added those on during the time. I'm really glad that I gave her a little paintbrush that fits her perfectly. I was able to glad the paint on her fanny pack. I love the little expression she's giving, but kind of just like with the other ones, it's just the figure painted, nothing too much. Like I didn't really try to add much to her. And following right next to that is kind of like another pair and remake. The Mr. Persnickety and the Mr. Fussy. I do not know why they changed them. I know it's for the more of the book style, but really Mr. Persnickety is like the best compared to this one. I use this monkey figure because of the mustache on the face. I don't care much for how the glasses came out because again it's the whole hot glue thing. I do like this one because he's a lot brighter and he sticks out more, and that expression as well fits him perfectly. And then we have Mr. Fussy, which I like this one too. I should have made it another monkey, but I don't think I had one at the time. So I use this cat. And I do like that expression though, on that little, oh. This fits him too, because I think Mr. Fussy, he just got like more, I don't know. He got more whiny, I would say. I didn't even really watch when they changed the show and added the other characters, but yeah, for me, I would say I like Mr. Persnickety better. Because it sounds more sophisticated, and he's supposed to be like the trying to be the gentleman type, so compared to calling him Fussy, no thank you. This one's gonna surprise you guys, I think, because next on the list is my Little Miss Scary custom. I remember finding this little pet shop at the Dollar Tree, like at a dollar store. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get this. I finally found the one that fits Little Miss Scary. I like it, but to me it doesn't really look like her, if you get what I'm saying. I don't know if it is because of the black fur on the top here. I did also make her have her one mask I really like. I really like her fish one, for some reason, the fish monster one. I mean, it is cute and I do like it, and I'm so happy I finally did get the bat, but I don't know, compared to the other ones that I put more details into over time, she's just lower on the list because of that. Following right behind her is technically her partner in crime, Little Miss Snotty. Now I really love how she came out. I picked this sheep one because of the curly hair, reminds me of how her pigtails, she has the puffy pigtails. I love the little bow. It was a button. I painted green. I love that little expression. And even the whole idea of her being a sheep, like the whole wolf in sheep's clothing. Here she's like, oh, I'm a nice little normal sheep. I'm not causing any trouble. But here she really is, you know, being little Miss Naughty and all. But yeah, overall, I really love how she came out. She's really adorable to me. Definitely one of my top, like, favorites. And following right behind her is another Little Miss Sunshine. She came out super adorable in my case. The bunny fits her perfectly. I don't know if I did have the long-eared bunnies at the time that I was gonna use, but I decided to go more with this one because I could see if she were a rabbit, she definitely probably would have like the high top ears. I love that I did add the little like bows to it as well. And just her expression, she's like happy-go-lucky, of course, you know, she's Little Miss Sunshine. She's always happy. Happy, 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 happy all the dang time. Okay, anyways. Alright everyone, we've reached to the top 10. Coming in at number 10 is another pair. Mr. Nosy and Mr. Small. These were, I believe, my second ever customs I made during this series. I really love the Mr. Nosy one, and of course I had to put these two together. You can't separate them. You can never separate these two. I like that I even did like the extra details of painting the bottom, the little heart markings, and even adding the little tie. The Mr. Small one, I believe, is a chinchilla figure. I remember someone commenting saying I should make it Mr. Small, and that's kind of how this whole thing began. The only issue I have with these guys is the super glue I use. It's getting like, it got really crusty. Especially on his hat. It looks like mold is growing on his hat. It's not. It's just the crusty super glue. So yeah, that's why they're kind of not like at the top on the list. But they did at least make it to the top 10 because they are super adorable. If I had to remake them though, I probably would make them Mr. Small. One of those like tiny ones. I want to do that. I should definitely do that. And following in is another pair, the brother and sister duo, Mr. Bump and Miss Whoops. Mr. Bump's a penguin, while Miss Whoops is a little bird. So they're technically related, as in they're both like a bird type of animal. Little Miss Whoops came out really cute. I'm glad I did add like a little broken wing to her, because she is Little Miss Whoops after all. I'm glad I painted on the glasses as well. Her little expression is so adorable. And then I feel so bad with how I did Mr. Bump. Just his bandaged up head, that little expression, the bandages around him. I feel so bad I did that, but it fits him. It is Mr. Bump. And coming in next after that is the Mr. Scatterbrain. I actually didn't care much for him in the show, but this custom of him is just so flippin' adorable. The little hat, the tail, the platypus, because, you know, Mr. Scatterbrain's, well, a jumble of things, and a platypus is clearly a jumble of things. Dang it, some of these customs, why must these freaking things be top heavy? I love that little derpy expression I gave him, and the hat's just overall adorable. Even adding little lines to his tail. He's just overall cute, and this custom actually really makes me like Mr. Scatterbrain. Following in right next after that is another pink character, the Mr. Messy custom. I like that I gave the ring around his eye to match Petey the dog from Little Rascals. I love the little mud splatters on him. I'm glad I used this pink color on him. This fuchsia, like shiny pink to him compared to the other pinks I had. And it's just overall him. The dog having kind of like this matted, floppy fur. Matches perfectly with how he is, just a bunch of scribbles. Overall, he's just super cute, super adorable, and I love him so much. Next right in after that is the Mr. Stubborn, the werewolf Mr. Stubborn. I believe this is more of a dog, but I made it into like a wolf. I wish they would have done, well, he technically is a werewolf. Technically in canon, he's a werewolf, so. But I wish they did more with that whole werewolf thing with him. That would have been hilarious. And too, just that expression, I think it fits him perfectly. I just noticed too how the unibrow is. He could be like freaking Shambhala from Little Shingam. Both are purple and they got a unibrow. Shambhala's is weird though because it's like a black sensor bar on his forehead. I don't know why they gave him that, but it's cool. It makes him an interesting character. Yeah, Mr. Stubborn too is also one of my top favorite characters. I just liked his voice too, and his overall design. All right, we're down to the top 5, and coming in at number 5 is the Little Miss that I always say looks like my mom, is the Little Miss Calamity custom. She's overall adorable. I really like the cat features to her too. How she's like this poofy little cat. The expression came out great for her. She always was one of my favorite characters. Actually, I didn't much care for her when I first seen her because I had no idea what Calamity meant as a little kid. So I asked my mom, and then I'm like, oh, it's not. That's why all that crap happens to her, and she never can catch a break. But yeah, she grew up to be like one of my favorites, and I was so mad they removed her. Why? That made no sense. That was horrible that they did that. But yeah, she definitely has come out on one of the tops because her overall figure custom is just really cute. And coming in at number 4 is Little Miss Daredevil. I really love how this custom came out, especially since I had to cut off the ears just so I could get her helmet on. I think this fox fits her as well, especially just how it's overall different from all the other figures. I think this was from when they made that wave of the characters and they did these whole different designs to match the show that came out, and the fans just hated it, which I can understand, but this fits her perfectly, I think. And of course, being a fox too matches well. I love the color I did for her eyes. The eyelashes came out good, her hair came out really cute. And the helmet too, even though if it's a little bit bumpy and lopsided, it does make, you know, when you look at this, you see it's Little Miss Daredevil. So yeah, she definitely had to come out at one of the top. Now it's funny because these next two are characters I actually did not care for at all in the show, but just overall how they look, it brought them to the top. So coming in at the top 3, number 3 is the Mr. Funny custom, because it's just overall cute. The little expression, the hat came out perfect. Just adding little polka dots to him too, even painting his little tail, and adding his shoes, his tiny shoes. Even though they're big clown shoes, on this bear, they're tiny cute shoes. I never cared for him in the show. He just came off as like a Mr. Scatterbrain that couldn't talk. But this custom too was definitely one of my, I think, later ones I made, so I did improve somewhat over time compared to my older ones. But overall, he's just so cute. I just love this. He's just so adorable in that big bear head of his.
This is badass!
Alright, coming in at number 2 is definitely going to surprise some of you guys because this is a Little Miss I hated so much. The Little Miss Magic custom. I did not like her at all. I don't like that her magic doesn't work. And I thought she was a Little Miss Calamity ripoff because when I was a little kid and I seen the back of the DVD case, I'm looking for Miss Calamity, and I see her and I'm like, and then it turns out it's Miss Magic. So it always looked to me as it was just a replacement of her, and that made me upset. But this custom right here is adorable. I love all the little details I put into it. Giving her sparkly red shoes, the wand. She's a flying squirrel, which makes sense because she floats. So in here she could kind of just glide in and fly in with her magic. The top hat came out really cute. And another thing I love too is the base of making it a purple, like sparkly poofing cloud. How she like poofs in at times from her magic. And of course this figure struggled to stand, so adding this as a base just brings it in all together. It just is her. So she definitely came out high on the list because this is just overall adorable, and I love the details I put in for it. Okay, this shouldn't be a surprise at all. If you guys were keeping track, you most likely already know who's number 1, but coming in at number 1, drum roll please. The Mr. Grumpy cat. Mr. Grumpy, of course. He was my favorite since the beginning of this show. I loved his color, his shape, and the fact that he was probably the one that had the most sense in the show. He was basically just a normal person in the show living, while everyone else was just in their own happy world. and just this cat. Not to mention too, this was the very first custom I ever made, so he's the one that kicked off this whole thing. So he definitely deserves to be number one. I love the little expression of the cat. It's adorable. His little hat came out really cute. And just the coloring too matches him perfectly. It's just overall him, and I love it. So of course, as soon as I got the Grumpy Cat figure, I just had to make it Mr. Grumpy, of course. That's the perfect sense. So yeah, of course he'd be number one. He's my favorite Mr. Men character, and this custom overall is just adorable, and I love it. So yeah, of course Mr. Grumpy would be number one. But anyways guys, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry this video took longer to come out compared to the other two rankings. But anyways, too, let me know which one you would have made number one on your list. Like, which one of these was your favorite and during this whole Mr. Men and Little Miss series. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good day.